Hello and welcome to a mini sketchbook tour. I call it a mini sketchbook tour because this is actually my travel sketchbook that I have recently sort of abruptly finished. I say abruptly and I'll get to the reason what I mean later. It's a perfect travel size essentially. It's not too heavy. I even customize it a bit in taping back this part so I can stick in extra sheets of like nicer quality watercolor paper. And I also decked it out with my stickers and stickers I had bought from Etsy, these two. I will hopefully put it on screen what the artists are because I cannot remember right now. I started the sketchbook a little over 2 years ago, and I had it in mind for it specifically to be a travel sketchbook and also that I could use watercolor in it. It wasn't a cotton sketchbook, I believe I already mentioned that, but yeah, I kind of just wanted for my next future trips to be able to actually paint. Okay, so we are starting off with when I first got to the airport on my first trip. Not much sketching had actually happened while I was waiting to board the plane, mostly because every time I think I'm gonna do more sketches, I actually don't end up doing much. Because I get kind of anxious and everything waiting for me to actually board the plane and to start my vacation. And this is probably the first of one of very few sketches from my imagination that I don't actually end up doing much of when I am actually traveling. I'm not sure why. I think I'm just trying to relax, not really stressing my brain out unless I absolutely have some kind of idea. So nothing impressive, just a quick little sketch of some kind of pose or something that I just had in mind and didn't really quite get anywhere far with. So the next drawing is when I actually finally got to Serbia, and it was a view of a house. I thought it would be kind of a fun challenge because it was like more of an older, traditional kind of European style house, which I thought would be really fun to try and paint. A really fun challenge because you've got the basically pattern of the tiles, you've got all the like tons of vines growing on all over the house, and you've got like, I think it's muntins or something, the way the old school windows have like the million divided up sort of style thing. Now keep in mind this is the first time I've ever used water brushes. These things I have them in part. Now it wasn't even these types, it was I think a even cheaper brand, like small and short. They're somewhere in the drawer, I didn't want to like rush to get over them. And I had also because I didn't want to bring the Daniel Smith paints I had recently bought, or the Winsor & Newton ones, because I actually really like them. I went with paints that I got gifted for Christmas, which was a Faber-Castell student grade paints. They're, kind of way lower quality than any other paints that I have, but that saying, they're not shit quality. They're actually really nice because you can see they've got really nice pigmentation. My only gripe with it was I wasn't a fan of like when I was mixing the colors with them. I didn't feel like, because these aren't like legit pigments, I feel like they're not gonna mix as nicely as when your brain's thinking with like, I suppose, more professional grade ones. The colors are just not quite it. I believe that's a yellow ochre, and I don't even know if that's for sure any of these in particular. And they didn't actually come in this palette, they came in tubes, and this is actually a Daniel Smith cheap set. And when I originally took them with me, it was in this medium one, but now my travel set go-to is actually a mix of Rosa Gallery and Winsor & Newton ones or something. And again, this was more of a bougie upgrade because I just couldn't help it and couldn't resist. So these paints, if you ever get them, they're really nice to work with, and starting out, these are perfectly fine. I was just being a bit bougie, and because I had already switched to using more professional ones, I just kind of felt like they were a little bit of a downgrade because I was so used to different specific colors or something. But these are very nice. But yeah, again, like no light fastness. But yeah, neither here nor there, so let's move on. And like I said, pigment is actually really nice. It's just some of the color mixing is not my favorite of it. Another thing that I really enjoyed painting on this trip was trees, and this is one of my favorite paintings in in a sketchbook because I think it turned out really nice, despite, you know, kind of dogging on the or ragging on the watercolor paints I used. This was with the student grade one, so you can achieve very dark colors and very nice pigments. So again, my only issue was my preference to color mixing, because I'm somebody that happens to really like what's it called, specific colors or something like that, just because I'm like used to it and spoiled by it. I spoiled myself with that. A painting I did not finish because I believe I was sick at the time. Got sick partially through this trip, so it's only partially done painting. Done some quick sketches again, very few of inspiration, so it's just my original character, nothing too crazy. And then when I came back, I think I did one more sketch of this when I was like, I think outside of my backyard. And this was just the Daniel Smith paints or something, and they were a lot more fun to use. So just practicing a little bit with that just to see how they flow, especially on this paper. Since I hadn't really experimented in the sketchbook, I'd immediately just started using it when I had taken it with me on my trip. This one in particular is when I was on my Montreal trip. As you can see, it's such a lovely detailed painting. I know, fantastic. It was only a 3-day trip. I thought I was gonna actually paint and draw way more, but I always like romanticize that I'm gonna stop and paint and do stuff. I probably could have done it when I had all the free time by myself at one point, but I don't know why I didn't end up doing it. I could have fully done it, but yeah, it is what it is. Like the hotel we were staying at had this beautiful rooftop garden. It was like a crazy beautiful oasis. So missed opportunity just because I just wasn't in the mood. I mean, you're not always in the mood. And there was originally a ticket in here, by the way, pasted, because I thought I was going to do scrapbooking, but alas, that didn't happen. And also, nothing there, right? What definitely was a very successful painting trip was going to the Dominican. Painting on the beach actually turned out to be one of the most relaxing, fun things I've ever done in my life, and I regretted not doing more of them. Any opportunity I had when I was in the Caribbean. So especially when Cuba and Dominican were cheaper, because now it's just like I really want to go back, but I feel like the prices are skyrocketing or something, so we'll see. Anyway, so drawing palm trees is a lot of fun. Like I've always had a lot of fun doing like the silhouette version of palm trees, but like painting them IRL, just getting the colors right, was great. I managed to really achieve it, and I was really happy with myself to actually get the neutral colors right, because that was, I think, the biggest stress point with these colors, because they're more bright and candy-like and very, that was like my biggest gripe with these, that they were very candy-like, and it made it hard to figure out how to mix sand colors and more neutral colors, and that definitely took a while. Another thing I was like kind of dissatisfied with, despite like having the blues and everything, it's weirdly, I don't know if it was this paper, but I just never really felt like I captured the blue as well as I could, like, and that's part of the reason why, you know, like you can really get the proper Caribbean blues with like colors like this, but I digress. I still had a lot of fun painting this and stuff, despite being very fussy about the colors. Achieve my goals. And I did a lot of paintings. There was like these plants. I have no idea what the hell the name of most plants are, especially tropical ones, aside from palm trees, so bear with me. That was like the base of a palm tree, and they've got these cute little ropes and stuff. Then from the balcony of the hotel room, there was this vine growing on a palm tree with these giant leaves, so I thought that was very cool. To sketch that out. You know, it started getting dark fast, basically already at like 7 p.m. By the time I was out on the balcony. It was pretty hard to sketch this because it was getting really dark. And you could barely like see this, so I just kept it in sketch form. And I thought it was a fun challenge to do more of the plants in a little bit more detail. I accidentally got the water and paint swooshed on there, but I think it still turned out alright for a sketch. I think this is one of my favorite ones as well. I think all of the ones actually from this trip are my favorite. I think painting palm trees was like the most successful, essentially. I might have gotten a little bit fussy with the ocean, just because I was trying to build up the shape of waves and stuff, but I think I still like it. Again, it might just be the paper that was like the hindrance more than anything. I was way more used to water brushes at this point. I was painting the water. I remember disliking, I think, the color of everything. And then there was a boat. I just never ended up finishing this one. So, oh well. And yes, the single palm tree. This might actually be my favorite palm tree painting I did during the trip. Just because the shape was just perfection. I really loved it. I didn't change anything about the shape like when I painted it. I just did it exactly as I saw it, and that was loads of fun. It was cute little funs. Dividing, I guess, different resorts. And then, okay, so from the beautiful tropics to a cold building in Canada. So this was done, first time I had gone to a plein air sketch kind of group in Toronto. So I always, I have slight gripes with this group. Nothing, like, people are great, everybody's great, it's just communication, I swear. This thing that was like some stress points of certain meeting times, but it just limited me to how many I ended up going to. That's like my only issue. Because I was either found out too late or found out after it happened, because I think they were trying to do the thing from Instagram, but Instagram doesn't post chronologically, or at least sort of doesn't, sort of does, sort of thing. I'm sure you understand, you know my pain of like crazy Instagram, so yeah. I know they, I think, also post like on Facebook, but it's hard to follow on an app that you barely use and have to just like constantly check just for one group. But either way, it's a blast. When you actually attend the stuff, it's a lot of fun. They always pick great locations, so I do recommend. You're probably a lot better than me at like figuring out. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a complete fail when it comes to finding stuff. It's such a struggle. I have the worst luck. I'll always find things at the wrong time, or stuff that already happened and is over kind of deal. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to rant about that too much. And so inside the building, we could have gone anywhere we wanted and sketched or painted whatever part, so I decided I would do this orange staircase. I thought that was kind of a fun challenge of trying to shade that. And this was the first time actually with the Rosa Gallery paints, because I got excited because I had an orange color. I think I have since taken the orange one out. So, because I shifted around, I had like a bunch of other colors or something, because I bought like a bigger set because I'm crazy. They literally have a travel set, but to be fair, when you're buying from Canada, everything is more expensive. So the travel set was like $40, and I think the one with like a lot more paints was $52 or something like that. The one that I bought, like, I think $52 Canadian was this thing, and it had all the colors, and there's the rest of my colors in here. So yeah, I think that's kind of why I went with it, because the price difference between the one with more paints and the one with less was very small, so I didn't really see any point in buying a smaller set. So yeah, keep checking on if you are ever buying from Amazon. Just make sure and check the larger size sets, because for any paints you're buying, because sometimes the price difference won't be very big, and it's just better to buy the bigger one and then just buy maybe a separate tin if you want. I know that adds to the price, but this tin I think cost me $15 or $12 or something like that, so yeah. And then another meetup with that same plein air group was was a month later. So the first one was around winter in March, which is still cold as hell for Canada, so that was inside. And the next one, April, the start of April in Canada, is usually still very, very cold. Apologies on the lighting. It keeps getting cloudy and not cloudy, and I messed around with the ISO a couple of times just because auto sometimes overwrites, but yeah. So we met up in this dog park. Or, well, not a dog park, but I mean, there's a lot of people with dogs, but it had a fountain that was themed dog theme. So these are actually statues, and there's more little doggy statues in here that I think usually shoot out water, and then I think these might be dog faces or something on the actual fountain. And there's like a little bone on the statue. The statue itself, the actual details are adorable. If this one kind of looks a bit derpy and rushed compared to like any other sketches, is because it was so cold to draw outside. And okay, so most of the people in this group are, I guess, retirement age, but they were so chill about it. They had their easels and everything out. They were just going along with it, and I was shaking. I get kind of cold easily. I'm not very good with handling the cold as much, and so I toughed through it and did a quick sketch and then did a quick inking of it. And then I turned around and I saw there was a cafe, and I thought, you know what, I'm getting pretty hungry and I kind of want a coffee. You know, I want to just warm up, and then I'll go out and then do another sketch. It was pretty funny because inside that cafe, that I'm super cold. I go into the Aroma Cafe, or inside the building first, and I discovered it's like a building within a building. And this is kind of what I ended up painting. Now, the long version of the story was I was also hungry because it was around lunchtime, and then I just go out in there and went to get a latte and a warm sandwich or something. It might have been a panini. I forget what's exactly on the menu. I haven't eaten an Aroma in a while. I sit down at this table, which is very large. It could sit 8 people easily because it's very long, and then it has like 2 couches on both sides essentially. I believe it was like couches. And then this lady, 20 minutes later, shows up and starts freaking out that I stole her seat. I stole the table, and then I realized there was actually a toque, or I believe it's called a toque or something, the winter knitted hat thing. I don't own those, so I can't remember. It's not the type with like a pom-pom on it. It's just, yeah. Anyway, yeah, she freaked out, and the thing about that toque, it was just like kind of dumped in a corner of it, and it looked like it was one of those ones that just was there for somebody forgot like days ago, and none of the cleaning staff bothered to pick it up kind of deal. So that was a bit frustrating, where it didn't really seem like it was, but I immediately offered to get up. But this lady immediately also went into rage mode, and she just was like, nah, whatever, and started turning away and going off, and I was like, okay. I mean, this table essentially could have easily fit 4 strangers comfortably spaced out. Essentially, a lot of the tables there felt like they could definitely house a lot of people, and it was kind of one of those things where I feel like they should have just gone with a lot of mini tables as opposed to a very few very large tables. Like some of them even had like high top and with like, and they were, I believe, very large, including like I think what these people were sitting, it was also very long as well. And so it was very awkward. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if you're just like meant to like lounge there. So the whole situation was a bit awkward, where I didn't obviously mean to take anybody's seat. I didn't even know there was essentially it was taken, but her reaction was just, I guess maybe she had a bad day. I don't know. Anyway, after she left, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna paint because there's, you know, no reason not to, and I kind of didn't want to go back into the cold. And so I did a full page spread, and I decided to do it in portrait mode. It essentially looks like this. I apologize. It's a bit like, because it's tall, it's like really hard to display otherwise. There was this art display on the ceiling, which I don't know how else to describe it other than it's like holographic Doritos. It was, you know, that kind of plastic holographic material that you could I don't even know, but it was like thick plastic, obviously not some kind of thin one. Not entirely the happiest way. I could have gone stronger with the shadows and everything like that, because it is a bit washed out, but this was still a fun challenge. I think originally I just meant maybe to do it as just a line art, but then I thought it would be nicer if I filled it in, because the line art itself was very weak and too simplistic, and I think I'd messed up slightly on the perspective here and there. Okay, so the next trip, what was next? Oh yeah, that was another painting this is the only actual thing I did when I came back outside, because I had spent, you know, ended up doing a painting inside, and then I just did a tree which was slowly starting to get blossoms, so I thought that would also be a fun little addition. just doing it with actual paint. So my next plein air session was actually with just like my mom going out to Port Credit with my dog. Decided, you know what, screw them and trying to decide their groups, because the next several were, I think they were just like 7 a.m. and some were very far. So essentially I would have had to wake up at 4 a.m. to get to whatever destination they were going to. And I was thinking, hell no, it's the summer, it's my weekends, the only time I have off, you know, you're retired, I'm sure you don't care because you've got like plenty of times. Like I said, a lot of people in the group were retired. That's not a dish on them or something. I understand you're obviously going to run on a total different schedule if maybe retired, maybe a freelancer, or maybe a completely different job type, or maybe you enjoy waking up super early too, and maybe you're very close to that location. So if you're any of those things, of course, it's going to work out great for you. But my group is always like, I feel like I'm always in the wrong time, the wrong place kind of feeling, and so it is what it is. That's why I made the best of it and of that beautiful day and went to somewhere a lot closer to me and did not have to wake up. This was definitely a much longer kind of sketch day sort of thing, an all-day affair, which was loads of fun time, but otherwise it's fine. So yeah, there was like a bunch of paintings I did, and they were all in the Paul Rubens stuff, so this is the only sketch version I did that day. I might show it off. I'll see. I have to actually drag it out, so and my legs are killing me for some reason. I think that the slippers I'm wearing just are super uncomfortable for standing, and I haven't actually worn those for the last several sketchbook sessions. And so then I went off onto my, because it was like the following year, and I go to Serbia nearly every year, and I had painted a building, and I decided to do some more line work and watercolor. I was not happy with the way that the color of the buildings turned out. It's technically this like pink beigey color, but it turned out a lot darker than I wanted, and the lighting was really off. It just did not feel like there was any form like kind of lighting shown off on the building sort of thing. Even like adding the shadows just did not feel good. It just turned into like several degrees of mud here. So that I felt like it was a little bit of a fail in the mix of colors. I probably got I think I tried to go more whimsical than with the colors, but it was too late. So I think next time I'd probably just, I think I now more enjoy trying to mix exactly what the realistic color is and try to go more whimsical, because like I even muddied up the trees so much. Another one of my favorites, and I had also painted like final version of these, like an Paul Rubens thing, is this tree. So the name is blanking on what type of tree it is. It's usually the white with the blue lines. It's probably gonna hit me way after I finish this video, and I'm just too lazy to pause, look it up, and then do a proper, you know, video of not making myself sound like an idiot. I'm just too drained right now to do that. And I've done a bunch of re-recordings of some stuff, because with sketchbook sessions I don't really bother writing a script anymore, because it's a little tricky to follow the script and going through the things, because my thoughts, I like my thoughts to come as I'm doing it. I love some chaos, right? I hope you're enjoying the chaos. So I did another painting of the tree. Painting these trees was so much fun. Again, I don't know why, but every time I'm on a trip to Serbia or anywhere, like painting trees is a lot of fun to do. Now again, this paper wasn't great and for filling out the entire thing in one wash, so I kind of just did I kind of just filled in the areas as I went along, but I still think it turned out pretty cool, because normally, you know, that wouldn't always look as great, but I actually like the way the effect came out for this. And yeah, again, this was done with the Rosa Gallery paints at this point. And then I painted a lovely sunset. And this was also a lot of fun to paint, like a scene by the river. I can't remember if this was actually painting on site or if I took a photo and then painted it later that day or something of it, which potentially might be it. But yeah, as you can see, I was getting like more comfortable with doing a lot more watercolor paintings on every trip and doing a lot more. So I ended up for this trip. Oh yeah, it was kind of funny though. Somebody had like 2 cactuses on on their windowsills. Now the funniest thing was the first night, they had their light on, and I only saw a silhouette of this, so it kind of looked like some pervert was just kind of had their head angled and was kind of just like looking into the apartment or something. So I was just like, I can't believe the audacity of them just like standing there and staring, until it dawned on me. I was like, they're not moving. That's a cactus. It was far enough away that I couldn't actually tell at first glance. I was pretty tired, I think, and once I just actually came up on the balcony and looked closer, I was like, that's definitely not a person. Oops, derp. Again, I tried mixing the color here and attempting for that same building, and again, I really don't like the color that turned out for that. I don't know why I kept attempting that. Only now I see it. Again, I probably should have just went with whimsical, because there's, I think, in terms of colors, God, what's that? I believe there's like a dirty rose color or something that you can get, or Potter's Pink, that's it. I think Potter's Pink, if I had that color, it probably would have been like the exact color of this building, or more maybe a salmony color or something. I don't know, because it was definitely more like a very light pink, but almost like a dirty pink as well. So it's, and with a little bit of beige in it. It's just one of those natural stones that are hard to exactly pinpoint. Then again, a different angle, I think, or maybe the same angle of that same house I had painted before, but I feel like I managed to paint an entire scene of it this time. And I feel like I like how I handle the shapes here, like, and the Rosa Gallery paints and all the other ones I'm using, I really like the greens a lot more. Probably not the greatest this part, because I think I was running out of steam or running out of time and I was like leaving, so there's some parts that I never really actually enjoyed about this one as well. And then just some more random sketching. Again, they always turned out to be a very derpy, crappy, simple sketches, just because, again, I never really like have much thoughts or inspiration. This is based on some older type of sketches I was doing in another sketchbook for a while, and so I started, I had this inspiration when I was outside one evening with, well, when I was like passing by this like lamppost with like these buildings, and it kind of inspired me to try that. Just, I never really finished this thought. I probably could, because I had totally forgotten about it, but yeah, it was kind of like a more whimsically mysterious night. Then at the airport layover in Vienna, I don't even know how I actually had the energy to draw this, because we had to wake up at like 3 a.m. or something in Serbia to get to the airplane, and then the airplane's like an hour or something, maybe even less. And then in Vienna, it was like 9 a.m. or something, maybe 10 a.m. and I was like sleep deprived. But I managed to actually do a sketch of two people. I think we were playing some kind of game, or maybe playing card game or something like that. And we were sitting in this Ida cafe or something, so it was like one thing I had ended up just like sticking in there, and I sketched a little bit of planes with some highlighter that I had. Oh, and this, back to Canada. This was another plein air session I did on my own. It was a beautiful summer day, very sunny, very wonderful, in around Lake Ontario. I can't remember if it was just another area. It was either way. It was like Mississauga. It wasn't far away, easy to reach. And I think I did another like good version as well in the Paul Rubens book. But this was a lot of fun. It was a fun challenge, because there was a lot of sailboats, whatever you want to call mini yachts. I don't know the proper terminology of all the type of boats, but lots of boats. None of them mine. I was just observing, and I felt like it was kind of funny, because there's this actually path here, and then I was sitting on a bench like behind the path, and then there's like kind of this foliage here, and you're kind of just like peeking through into like, I guess their fancy clubhouse, whatever the hell that's called, yacht club house. And us peasants, unfortunately, are not allowed there. I'm pretty sure you need to own a boat or something. And and I thought it was a really pretty shot, but like the trouble is, it's quite the challenge to be drawing so many of the like the things that hold the sails. I forget the term of it because again I don't own a boat, so I forgot the terms very easily before. The sails thing. I decided to just relax and not overthink the details and try to break down the shapes to simplify stuff. And I thought the ink work kind of helped, and to just keep the paper more white, I suppose, just because there's a lot of whites because all the boats are basically white. And I kind of enjoyed the quick, very loose messiness of it. I even enjoy the other one that I did, which was a little bit more refined, but still kind of got that messy vibe. And I think it really worked out, thankfully. I think for some reason this pen, because I must have put it down like right away, and then I immediately started painting. So a little bit of ink bleeding, which normally just did not occur with this paint. So the same day, also another area where there was more boats. There was, like, you could see more color in this one, and the water was very beautiful and blue that day because I guess there wasn't much rain at all for a while last summer. I believe this was last summer. I'm not entirely sure, but either way. It was a very relaxing time, like working on my own time, not having any groups or something like that, just doing plein air. I realize is just kind of the most relaxing and the most fun. Then it was Fan Expo, and I kind of was like sketching the people passing by. I was like sitting in a restaurant outside, but it wasn't like the best angle to find any plein air image, and I didn't have too much time at that point. I was just waiting for my food. And this girl had buns, so that's kind of how it turned out there. So I thought she was kind of fun to draw. And a lot of people were kind of not standing still, so this was a bit difficult. I hadn't had a lot of practice of people sketching while they were like moving. Probably need more of that. And then I ended up just drawing the glass of water, the Coke, and the salt and pepper shaker that were on my table. I took notes because I went to a Tony Moy panel at Fan Expo. That was a lot of fun. He gave a lot of great tips with watercolor. I really loved that. I went to a bunch of panels where comic artists were talking and even doing demos and stuff like that. I wish the panels were longer for the artists because I think they definitely needed that. Just because their demonstrations got cut off really quickly, so it was barely an hour. I think it was technically even under an hour because they got rushed out pretty quickly. I guess maybe it's because every single room might be being used when it's Fan Expo, so there's a lot of panels happening, so maybe, I guess that's the reason. So the interlude, because I had gone on a Thursday. Yes, I took work off. I wanted to go on the Commas Day because I was going by myself. Then it was an interlude, I think it was Saturday, where I just went, it was a rainy day, but I ended up doing a plein air painting again outside by the lake, and that was very relaxing, nice, calm, in between like the chaotic city, Fan Expo and everything kind of vibes. Then there was another sketch of this, but then it really started to pour, so I only got basically an ink sketch out for the next part. I think it was like on the other side of the water here when I was like sketching, so that was kind of a fun experience. And then I started going to the meetup group, and I ended up drawing a witch, and I was like, I think somebody was like talking about like maybe talking about watercolor, so I ended up just like painting this tree or something, demoing or something, showing, because somebody was like asking about something with either trees or watercolor, I don't even know. So next is Inktober prompt. I don't remember what the actual prompt is, and just a little bit of not too much of exciting things, just some random sketch. And I believe that might have been another demo at the meetups, some really quick one though, of just how watercolor works. So just this is not really much of any commenting either, because I was at a cafe, but it was the middle of summer and I was outside with my boyfriend and we were boiling. So he got a lot more drawn, but I did not, in fact. The next meetup, I decided I was gonna do some cocktail drinks and not rely on any line art, and just, you know, try my hand at like a little bit more, I guess, realistic or something. or just even just shading without line artists was the goal, I think. Don't even remember why, but I just felt like cocktails, why not? They're pretty, they're very fun actually to paint. That's what I discovered. So I did a total of 4. I think I did 2 per meetup or something. You know, when you're talking and having fun and also doing stuff like this, it kind of does take up some time, but and a lot of like waiting time for the layers to dry as well, so you don't mess it up. It's nice that this paper could handle quite a bit of layers. I think you might be able to tell more for this one, and because this one definitely did have more. I think I did quite a bit of on that line. This one was like, I believe, maybe the messiest, but either way, I had a lot of fun with all of these. Then this is about the only anime character in here. I just wanted to change stuff up for a meetup, and I didn't feel like doing some kind of realistic thing. I did really love how I ended up doing the shadows of this glove. That was very satisfying once I completed it. But it was a quick rough pose I kind of invented and stuff. Not really anything too unique or special, but yeah. And then I went for cupcakes the next time, and I painted one, and I wasn't entirely satisfied with it. Looked up more references and painted another. Most of the references I used, especially the drink ones, were just like Google image ones, so I didn't really post these anywhere just because, I don't know, I didn't want to get into any issues or complications with copyright stuff. So you're only viewing it here, yay! And people IRL who have ever seen the sketchbook. It's just mostly for practice anyway. I don't particularly post this kind of stuff anyway on my Instagram or whatever. I keep saying anyway for some reason today. Oh, lovely. And then these next 2 are actual photos I took, so it's just my work entirely, essentially. And then so I painted based on that photo, and I always love the whole path and the forest thing. Now, I always get nervous about painting sort of like a foresty type of thing because there's a lot of foliage, meaning there's a lot of texture, you know, the 1,000 little thing, the big thing with 1,000 little things, right? If you know the reference, you know the reference. So I was really happy that I didn't get too fussy. I kept it very more abstracted with the shapes and kind of blocked it out, and I just was happy it came together because first when I was working on it, like midpoint, it had a lot of ugly stages, and you know, when you get through those in the midst of those ugly stages, it can be very hard to push through and actually finish it, and for it to actually look great, it's always a relief and it feels good. And then the next one, again, a photo I had taken, so I was referencing that, and I was pretty alright with it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I loved the way normally nobody's really a fan of sometimes watercolor blooming or whatever with water, but in this case, it really looked like clouds. So it was fairly cool. Like, it was a really nice texture and touch. Plus, this is smooth paper, so it's a little bit harder to get like larger chunks to get very smooth out. So it's nice that didn't happen where the water is as much, just because I wasn't going for that texture. So that was great. Now, so I was on a roll because those 2 paintings I painted in one day. And I was gonna paint a silhouette of the CN Tower, but when I lay down the wash, the paper started pilling and doing this. And this is exactly what I meant at the start of the video when I said I had to abruptly finish the sketchbook. Because these next few pages are a little sus. This one started doing it when I tested it out, and I assume I can only think of the worst for the other one, so I didn't really want to bring it another time and again be sad that I couldn't actually paint in this sketchbook. But yeah, I'm conflicted. I kind of want to recommend it. I think it's still technically usable. I'm just, you know, since the next few pages didn't exactly have the pilling, maybe it's a little bit, so it seemed like it was some minor damage to one page or something. I'd probably end up buying the same one or something. I don't know if I would go with another just because price point, unless I find something cheaper on Amazon. Overall, keeping a specifically just travel sketchbook has been a blast, and it's always fun flipping through it and going through the memories of my specific like travels and going out kind of thing. So again, strictly mostly just using this when I'm just outside the house, even like traveling to downtown or something is what I count it down. Like, you don't have to travel far or far and wide, right, to have like a travel sketchbook. If you've gotten this far into the video, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and see you for the next one.